Welcome to the 12-Step Recovery Evolution podcast. Visit recoveryevolution.co.uk for more episodes, helpful resources and links to our social media. Also visit the site for information on how you can attend a future Zoom session or workshop live. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Fox. Thank you. I'm really getting a lot out of these groups. So what's been occurring to me this week, we're looking at this dysfunction family stuff and making amends and all those things. And I can see really clearly in my family, I had alcoholic grandfather on my dad's side, alcoholic grandmother on my mother's side. Those two got together and they got me, and I'm an addict. Interesting, my brothers and sisters went through the same trauma as me, but they're not. So I'll take that on board as well. And I'm looking at my kids now, and I've got real fears around one of my children. I think he's the product of two really dysfunctional, addicted, addict parents, and I'm finding I don't know how you break that cycle. Before my children, they're in their early 20s, before they have their kids, is it me trying to do their lives right now, feeling like this? Is this, what can I do? What do I do? How do I respond? I can see, I talked to my dad the other day, and my dad said, I was talking about riding my bike, and he said, have you got a helmet? And I was thinking, no, shut up, Dad. And I just suddenly realised he's doing the same sort of things and expressing the same sort of concern that I feel and want to express to my kids. But I'm 56, and my kids are grown up. I just don't know where I come in. What do I do? How do I be this parent, having been absent for a good 10 years in their lives? It's these kinds of questions. Is that breaking that cycle of dysfunction, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, there ain't a way. That's the hard reality, that there's no quick way that you're going to feel good about. Again, I think that's where we have to look at ourselves and think, are we being selfish because when people now, like that thing that we read yesterday about coming out of the cyclone cellar after the tornado, seeing the devastation and saying, ain't it grand, the wind stopped blowing. But he said there's years of reconstruction ahead, and that's the bit that I think can really, people don't want that bit. They just want it to be all right. I mean, for myself, coming into recovery thinking I'm all screwed up, and you kind of almost get the impression that when I become unscrewed, then the world's going to be this wonderful place. And then what you actually realise is that I'm just one of a whole mass of screwed up people that were doing kind of okay, but they're all very dysfunctional around me. And I didn't have children, so I've not got that responsibility of screwing them up. But years of bad parenting isn't going to be fixed in a mumbled sorry. It may be years of reconstruction they're going to lay ahead of you. And so the only conclusion that I can come to, and the only solution that I can offer, is to say you need to understand this program. You need to understand addiction. You need to understand relationships. You need to get as many tools as you can. And over the years of being in this relationship with these now adult children of alcoholics and addicts, when they're doing whatever they do, your response is the only way that you're going to be able to start helping them form the ability to be having healthy relationships. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's a lifetime job now. And some of it's going to feel terrible. Some of it's going to feel good. Some of it's going to feel okay. Some of it's going to be just unbearable. But the thing is that it's somebody in recovery who's making a ongoing amends, which ain't, I just don't drink and take drugs. It's my ongoing amends, and then I stay away from everybody because they hurt my feelings and upset me and won't do what I want, and I can't control them to adjust my emotional state. As actually a proper spiritual person, that you still engage with them and you use yourself and it's to put ourselves to be where we can be of maximum service to God and others. That we carry this message back to our families, but not in our necessarily in our words, but in our actions. And I tell you what, I think I want to tell this story. It's just come into my mind, and I don't know quite, not really used this story before, but I kind of had a little couple of thoughts about it. But because again, I think you need a bit of a foundation to understand this stuff because it's so dynamic, but it is going to be about your ongoing responses. See, that's what makes this program so wonderful. The more that you learn it and then start trusting in it and then start applying it, you also give the other people an opportunity to change. And not all of them are going to want to, and most of them aren't going to straight away. But see, when I actually go to dysfunctional people, but I start acting out on these principles, then they initially not going to like it. Because people that are dysfunctional, when you actually start becoming functional, then you're sort of breaking the pattern, but they're not necessarily going to come jumping into that pattern. They're actually going to start feeling their discomfort and their pain. And the first thing that they're going to greet you with is aggression. So whenever you challenge anybody that's dysfunctional, they're not going to thank you for it. If they did that, they're not dysfunctional. They were just wrong. But if they're dysfunctional and you challenge their bad behavior, you're going to get greeted with aggression. And that aggression is designed to get you back in line, to get you back into them, helping them to function with their dysfunction. So I'm going to tell this story as the structure that I'm going to keep referring back to, like the one shoe story, but a little bit clearer in the sense of being in relationship with other adults that can be strangers or your own family members. And this is the story. That imagine that there's a calf, and every day this guy comes in the calf, this big bloke. He stinks, he's rude, he's loud, he's aggressive. He sits down every day at the same table at the same time. He orders a massive super breakfast every day. And as he's eating it, he takes over the whole atmosphere of the calf. And the owner, which could be you, lets him do that. And he's been doing it for 10 years. And at the end of eating this super duper breakfast and having all this tea and coffee and taking over the whole atmosphere, he gets up and walks out and doesn't pay a penny. So now the owner of the calf, they're having a relationship with that customer. Now, when you ask that person, could be you, why are you letting them do that? Why are you letting them come into your calf, eat all that food, disrupt the atmosphere, and then walk out without even paying you? Now, we don't know for sure, because this is where infantry is important, and good therapy and good friends is to be able to say, so they might say, well, he cleans me windows, he cuts me grass, and he does such a good job that, he does that, but I kind of like, it's only for an hour. And no, you think, you know what, I wouldn't let him do that, but as long as you're happy with that exchange and that you're getting a fair exchange and the value system, you're happy with that value system's okay, then then that's not a problem. It might not be what I would do, but if that's your gig. But at the same hand, see, when you start looking at these relationships on the surface, we can all make judgments. But then as we start going under the surface and doing the inventory, then we could say that the person might say, well, he frightens me. He intimidates me and I'm scared of him. And so when he comes in, he come in 10 years ago and he intimidated me. And he even asked me a couple of times over years, do you want me to pay for the breakfast? And you're like, no, it's all right. I wanted him to pay, but I'm scared. Now, that's your fault. Now, again, you might feel sorry for that person, but it's still a fault. And so as you've come into recovery and you write down, this bloke comes in my coffee shop, my cafe, and he eats breakfast every day and he don't pay. And it's like, well, put his side apart, what he's doing wrong. Now, because I might go and ask him and he'll go, he might just be like that. I mean, not most people ain't. He probably knows he's intimidating, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And we go and go, why are you going in their coffee shop and their cafe eating all that breakfast and disrupting everyone and not paying? And he might go, well, I asked them and they said they didn't want me to pay. So you go back to the person and you go, he said you didn't want him to pay. And they said, yeah, but I'm scared of him. Scared of him. And they're like, well, that's kind of something you need to deal with. But they know in themselves, see, eventually through their therapy, through their program, through, you know, they're going to get to a point where they're going to go and say, let's call this other guy Dave. Dave, I owe you an apology, mate. You've been coming in here for 10 years. And I've been letting you eat dinner and I've been letting you have it for free. And you've been intimidating my other customers. And I haven't been quite honest with you, mate. I actually do want you to pay. Now, if he's dysfunctional, he's going to go start attacking you. And he's going to make, well, you should have told me, your fault. And whenever you challenge dysfunction, I guarantee you 100% of the time, that if you're being abused by somebody and then you challenge them, if they're dysfunctional, which they probably are because that's why they're doing it in the first place, they may not be conscious of it. They may well be conscious of it, but they're going to make themselves the victim and they're going to try and make you the abuser. And happens 100% of the time. So we know that. Because we're frightened. That's what we're frightened of. We're frightened. We know that if we go and tell Dave that I want him to pay for his food, that he's going to get angry at me. Now, it can take a little bit of time for you to build up the courage to do that. But that's when you stop becoming dysfunctional. When you actually build up the courage to go and tell Dave, I'm not giving you any more free breakfast, and I want you to be a little bit more pleasant, a little bit more polite when you come in my cafe. Now, the good news is, if Dave is dysfunctional and you keep that position, he ain't going to come back, and you've lost nothing. In actual fact, you've gained a lot. So when them people in your life get the ump and you don't take on them any more of their abuse, and you're like, well, I'm sorry you think that I'm abusing you, and I should have told you 10 years ago, and that was wrong of me. That's because I was scared, and I may have led you to believe, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, I may have led you to believe that it was all right for you to abuse me. So I apologise for that, but now I want it to stop. Now, if they're dysfunctional and they don't want to change, they're just going to disappear and they're not going to come back in your life. So you've gained from challenging them. If they're not dysfunctional and that they just were, that's the way they were, and they actually thought that you were happy with that transfer, that value system that you had going, that maybe you just liked them coming in, eating your food for free, and being noisy. Maybe they actually thought they were entertaining people. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if they were like, you know what, I'm really sorry, I didn't know I was intimidating you, I really apologise for that. And how many breakfasts have I had over the years? I'm more than happy to refund you the money because I want to give you some value. Because that's what it kind of comes down to in relationships. You're getting a fair exchange of value. Now, it goes a lot deeper than that. This is just a basic thing. But then if that person then, once you've told them the truth, that eventually, you know, they may feel a little bit hurt, but that's the beginning of a new relationship. You know, we say to people all the time, look, you need to change this relationship. And it doesn't always mean you need to change the person. Sometimes you just need to change the relationship. And so when you actually express how you feel, and if they take it on board, then you've gained a friend. Plus you get paid for the breakfast, which is a fair, you know, fair exchange and fair value. Now, I've also got, there's a lot more to that, but I just wanted to have a story that we could use to understand how to stop being dysfunctional and what dysfunction is. Because now, listen to this bit, that you are probably both of them people at some time in some relationships. Sometimes you're Dave and sometimes you're the owner of the business. So have a little think about that, that some relationships, you're both of them people. And so it can be a little bit more difficult that when you start breaking down your relationships to see, are you giving good, a fair value, a fair exchange? Because ultimately people all want to be valued and they all want to feel that they're getting a fair exchange. Now we know that some people, they think if I keep letting you abuse me, then eventually you're going to then give me what I want and what I need. But mostly that doesn't really happen unless something changes that. And that can also be the same with parents, that we keep going back to our parents and demanding that they give us more value. But again, if they haven't got it, then they can't give it. And then again, we have to look at that from a different angle. So there's no quick way through this, Bryony. It means years of you adjusting yourself, learning how to be a better mum, a better friend. When they're bringing their problems to you, you can help them learn about life. Because ultimately, when you're actually making a true amends, it should be in this sentiment, especially to children, because they don't want to hear about what happened to you. They care about what you did to them. They just want you to admit your fault. So we should do that when we're making amends to children. We should say this, something along this lines of, I deeply regret how my illness has affected you. I deeply regret it. I can see how my illness has affected you. And when they say, well, you're a bad mum, you did this, you did that, say, you're absolutely right. That was wrong, and I can see how it's damaged you. But how can I help you heal from it? Because again, you've kind of also got to get them to take responsibility for their healing. So he's like, look, I'm more than happy to do whatever it takes to help you heal. If that means I have to pay for therapy, if I have to come round, if I have to put up with you giving me shit a little bit now and then, but I'm just going to keep trying to help you understand this program, this process that set me free. I'm not just going to come around yakking it at you. I'm going to kind of demonstrate it in the way that I live my life. And I'm going to carry this message to you, but it's also for me. But unless they take responsibility for their being and they stop coming to you demanding that you fix them, then they're not going to get well either. And so it's an ongoing journey, but the best thing you can do is to get great recovery for yourself, because that's exactly what you're going to want to transfer to them. The good news is what we discovered is dysfunction just automatically transfers, but so does recovery. But it is a journey and there's no quick way to bring it to the end.